Hello, today I'd like to talk to you about doodles with noodles. And what are doodles with noodles, I can hear you saying? Well, noodles are what I call 1.5 inch strips. 1.5 inch strips that go pretty much across the width of the fabric. So they're about 42 inches long. And why am I calling them noodles? Well, I just really like the idea of this food and fabric and quilting thing going all together. And that's why I'm the gourmet quilter, because I do various forms of packaging that include food like fabric and things like that. So I thought we'd have a little talk about the noodles today. And doodling with noodles is so much fun because it's just like playing with 1.5 inch strips. So I'm just going to show you today how you can achieve noodles. So where do you get a noodle from? Well, you can cut your own noodles from fabric. So I'll show you how to do that. And what I've got here is some pieces of fabric that are the full width of the bolt of the fabric, so 42 inches plus. I'm usually allowing 42 inches to be my width of fabric. Sometimes it's a little bit more than that. And they're folded in half, selvages together, and then folded over one more time. And if you fold them quite nicely like that, you'll find that you can line up and get a nice straight cut. So I'm going to be cutting through. I've actually got two fabrics together here, both folded the same way, both full width of the fabric, and I'm going to lay one on top of the other, but I'm going to line them up with the markings on my board so that that fold and that selvage are lined up nice and straight with the lines on the board, so that everything is going to cut nice and straight. So if you folded your fabrics nicely like that, you'll find that they'll sit quite straight and we can cut some strips from that. So I've just gone over my line a little bit here because I'm just going to trim it because I want my strips to have nice straight edges. So first of all, I'm just going to trim that off, just a little bit off, a little whisker off, to make sure I've got a nice straight edge to be working with. And these are sitting nice and straight with the board, with the lines on the board. So that's the first cut to trim off, a little tiny bit of waste. And then I'm going to come along 1.5 inches, and I have a nice 1/2 inch marking on my ruler, which is really helpful. I can line that up with the marking on the board, and I'm going to cut 1.5 inches away from that cut edge. So I just cut again. Now if you're cutting through this much of a layer of fabric, so I've actually got 8 layers there, you do need to put a reasonable amount of pressure on your ruler to keep it still, because it may just want to wander a little bit. If you're having a little bit of trouble with that, you could stick some little emery dots or something like that underneath that would help stop the slippage that might occur. You may have no trouble, but I know that I do apply quite a lot of pressure when I'm cutting that much fabric. So here I have a noodle. This is a noodle. It goes the full length of the fabric, and it's just absolutely delicious. We love noodles. So I'm just going to show you a couple more times just so that you can see exactly how to get some noodles for yourself. I've got a couple of other little piles of fabrics ready here, and again I'm going to line them up with my board and make sure that everything's sitting nice and straight. Trim off that edge just there, and then I'm going to come 1.5 inches away from that cut edge and cut again. So of course you don't have to cut noodles as long as I'm cutting mine, but this is how I like to cut them. If I'm working out pattern designs and things, I'm working often with this sort of sizing, so it's just very convenient for me to do that. So this is the last dot I'm going to show you. I'm going to line that up just beyond the line a little bit there. Everything's sitting nice and straight with the board, and I'm going to trim that off. Make sure that all layers are trimmed nice and neatly. Come along 1.5 inches, and there we have a whole little series of noodles ready to go into a project. Now there's many recipes or patterns that can be used with noodles, and there are other ways of getting hold of noodles, of course. Some noodles come ready packaged. These are 1.5 inch strips, and the way I package mine is actually 20 in a pack. But I believe you can get noodles in other places. They may not always be called noodles, but these are what I call noodles. And how delicious would it be to just be having a lovely bowl of noodles I can't think of anything I'd like more than a little bowl of noodles. Do you love noodles? So later on I'll be showing you in some other videos that will be coming a little bit later. We'll go through some recipes or pattern ideas of things to do with our noodles. But today I just thought I'd show you what a noodle is and just how delicious they can be. So you can see that noodles can be so much fun and very achievable. You can of course use leftover fabrics and cut shorter noodles, because some of these noodles will end up being trimmed into different shapes and sizes that we can use them for later on. So hopefully that has just helped you a little bit with what a noodle is, and we'll be back later with some more information about noodles for you. Thank you.